Well, it's Monday, Labor Day 2018. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, 82 degrees, sunny, pretty much a perfect Cape Cod day. So let's talk about ad blockers. Hi, I'm John Guzman. I run Dragonfly Computers here on Cape Cod. I'm a local IT consulting firm. I assist small business with their technology needs, and I like to make little tutorial videos and explanations. Not so much for the advanced users. They pretty much know what they're doing. So these videos are more targeted at small business owners and maybe enthusiasts that want to know a little bit more about what their equipment does and maybe how to get a little bit more out of it. So having said that, what are ad blockers, right? They're browser extensions that you can install mainly in Chrome and Firefox that block the pop-up ads that a lot of websites run. So let's talk about the case for them and against them. So what are the case for them? Well, the case is that a lot of websites get revenue from the ads they run on their website, and so they want you to see those ads so that you'll potentially click on them and buy something, or at least get an impression that it ran across your screen and they can get paid that way, things like that. So these websites, and Google makes almost all their money this way, they want you to see those ads. That's about the only case for them. What is the case against them? Well, there's a lot of reasons why you would want to block them. One is that they add an attack vector into your machine. So basically you can get a spyware or a ransomware infection from a banner ad on a website. Whenever those ads load, they load a little bit of JavaScript that loads in your browser, and if that code is infected with malicious code, it can infect your computer. And there's been some very high-profile cases of this happening throughout the last few years. So we're going to get into that a little bit later in the video. What's another reason why you'd want to run an ad blocker? Well, the ads slow down the website, and this is especially prevalent on mobile phones when you could be on your 3G or your 4G network, and especially if you don't have a good 4-bar signal or 5-bar signal. A website that's adding all this extra code to, for tracking and to display ads to you can really slow down the experience. So it's another reason why you might want to run ad blockers. Another reason is that they're annoying. They're intrusive, they're obnoxious, the autoplay videos and the flashing ads with obnoxious images on them and things like that. So you might just want to get rid of them. Another is that they collect information about what you do, and that's how that's how companies track you from site to site. And they analyze your browsing habits, and they make determinations about what your demographic is and what your spending habits are. And if you ever notice how you go and look at a pair of shoes on Amazon, and then you're on Facebook and you see an ad for that same pair of shoes, that's called remarketing. I mean, that's done through through tracking cookies and things like that. So it's all part of this, what can be blocked with ad blockers. At the end of the day, it conserves bandwidth, it conserves battery life on your phone, it can speed up your user experience, and frankly, I've been running ad blockers about as long as they've been out, since at least 2008, 2009. I can't imagine browsing the web without them. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to just kind of clue people into what they are, and in a little bit we're going to get into how to install them and how to configure them, because they do break a lot of things, and so you have to be ready for that. It's not something that you just do willy-nilly. It's going to take a little bit of work to get these things installed and configured correctly, so that you can get the most out of them and still be able to browse the web effectively. So let's talk about malvertising. So that's what I was referring to a few minutes ago, where you can just go to a website, and not even we're not talking bad websites, we're talking about major websites here, and still end up with an infected computer because of it. So that's because of malvertising. So malvertising's probably been around a lot longer than I'm giving credit for, but let's just say I started to see it a lot in 2015. That's when it seems to have really taken off and come into its own. So what that means is these companies, when you go to their website, they're not running those ads. They're paying third-party companies. It's third-party companies that actually run the ads on the website, and it's other third-party companies that buy those ads. And the dirty secret is a lot of websites are so desperate for this revenue that they don't really police this stuff all that much. There are some that are. There are some very major ad networks that are very well policed, and then there are others that aren't. So that's how malicious code, some of these, these guys just, they buy ads and they'll only infect, let's say, 1 out of every 1,000 loads. So only 1 out of every 1,000 people may be infected by a malicious ad. So it takes a long time to catch on, and before you know it, you've got a lot of infected machines out there, and sometimes these infections can be as bad as ransomware. If you've ever had one of those, you know how much damage they can do. You can lose everything on your computer because of them. So that's what malvertising is, and that's why you might want to avoid it. And this is without even getting into the data collection aspect of all of this. So, as I alluded to before, some of what these trackers do that you'd be blocking with an ad blocker, these are the things that track you from site to site to site. And sometimes they're as benign as just telling the website owner, hey, somebody came to your website and, clicked on a couple pages. I don't have a problem with that. But, some of the more creepy stuff, like I said, when you're looking at a pair of shoes on a certain website and then you go to a different website and you see that same pair of shoes, or something that maybe you just, you searched for in Google, and now that same item is showing up on another website. That's something that you can cut way down on when you start running ad blockers. So Malwarebytes has a really exhaustive two-part piece about all this stuff that I'm going to link to in the bottom. If you want to know kind of everything about it from A to Z, that would be the resource for it, and they're great. I've been a big supporter of Malwarebytes. I think they make one of the best, if probably not the premier anti-spyware, antivirus program, and I'm going to make a whole nother video about that. But anyway, I just want to get into some of the companies that have had problems with this stuff. If you've ever gone to a website and it wasn't, let's say a quote-unquote bad website, but you still ended up with maybe an infection on your computer, it's almost guaranteed it was because of a banner ad at a very legit site. And some of the websites that have had issues in the past are the BBC, AOL, the New York Times, NFL.com, Realtor.com, Xfinity, which is Comcast. All of these websites at one time or another have had hijacked banner ads that were serving up malicious code to people without even having to click on anything. Like literally, you just going to the website and you ended up with an infection. So that's the danger. So to me, it's not just about supporting your favorite website, because they're not necessarily capable of keeping you safe. And it's a different thing in the past when you didn't watch a commercial on TV. You didn't end up with a ransomware infection on your computer as a result. When the DVR came along and everybody started skipping commercials, and then of course all of the companies shifted their advertising to online, because that's where all the eyeballs are now. So they guilt trip you, and that's one of the things that you'll start seeing when you start running ad blockers. Is every single site is going to give you a pop-up saying, oh, we see you're running an ad blocker, can you turn it off? Or there are some sites that won't even let you access the site if it detects that you're running an ad blocker, and there's ways around that too, and we can talk about that in a minute. Long story short is, I don't see it so much as a thing about supporting revenue for your favorite website as I do about just keeping your computer safe and your data safe. At the very least, picking up an infection from an infected ad on a website can be a minor inconvenience where you just have to run your favorite antivirus or anti-spyware program and get rid of it. But at the very most, it could be a ransomware infection, and you can literally lose all of the data on your computer or be forced to literally pay a ransom. And then at that point, you're basically supporting the lifestyle of the people that write this code and infect these computers. So a lot of people just have an ethical thing where they won't pay the ransom, and as a result they'll lose their data. So that's why I run ad blockers, and not only just that, but also just the sheer fact that I just find online ads freaking obnoxious as hell, and I don't like seeing them. So when it gets to the point where there's a conversation where these ads are, let's say, proven safe for a long period of time, and they're able to get rid of the malicious code aspect of it, and in addition are able to make the ads not so obnoxious, then maybe I would consider not running ad blockers anymore, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So now we're going to get to the tutorial portion of this, where I'm going to show you how to install more than one, not just one ad blocker. I actually run 3. So I'll show you two of the easy ones that require basically no configuration and sort of what the effect of those are. And then I'll show you a more advanced one that pretty much breaks the entire internet experience, and you have to know how to configure it from then on. But it's also the most effective, and it's the one that I personally like the best. So without further ado, let's get on with it.